Hi everyone. In this session, let's understand how many ways we can create a thread. Yes, also I am going to explain you how to write a code by using Java8 Lambda Expressions. And also I will explain you we are having two ways to create the thread and what is the better way. This is a very basic things and it is very important with respect to interview. And you need to know for a multi-threading, and as a Java developer you need to know. So we are having two ways to create the thread. By extending thread class you can create a thread, otherwise by implementing runnable interface. Yes, we are having thread is a class and runnable is a interface. They given these two, class and interface, okay, to create the thread. Okay, so what I will do, let me create a class for you. For example, I will say demo, and here I will let me add a main method. Okay, so here I will take a class, let's say I will say counter. So I will extend. So what I told, we are having two ways by extending threads. So let me say first way, I will extend thread. So if you extend threads, you can override this run method and you can implement your logic. Here I wanted to print 1 to 5. Okay, so I will say int I equal to 1, I less than equal to 5, I plus plus, something like that. And I will say I will print that I. Okay, so this is the first way, that is extending. I will say by extending thread class. Okay, so I wanted to run this, I wanted to call this run method. How to call that run method? You will create a object of this counter. Let's say counter equal to new counter, and if you call this counter dot run, if you call this directly this run method, you are not achieving the multi-threading concept. To call this run method, we need to call the start method, and start method will automatically will call the internally will call the run method. So you need to call like counter dot start. Okay, so this is the correct thing. Okay, so now if you run it, you see it is printing 1 to 5. So this is the fast way. And what is the second way? By implementing runnable interface. So what I will do, instead of extend, I will say implements, and instead of thread class, what I will do, I will say runnable interface. So you see, if you go to runnable, there is only one run method. Okay, so but if you call this run method directly counter dot run, we are not achieving the multi-threading concept. We need to call the start method. Start method internally will call the run method. How to call the start method? We need to create a thread class, thread t1 equal to new thread, and then you can call t1 dot start. But if you call this t1 dot start, you see we created a fresh thread class, right? And we are calling the start. The start will not call this run method, because we are not saying that, we are not calling this counter run method. If you call, nothing will happen, because the start method is not calling this run method. So how we will convey that, hey, you call this run method. So whenever we will create this, right, this is, so how to create? So don't use this default constructor. So what I will do, I will pass this counter class here. So yes, we can pass a runnable interface implementation class, you can pass that object. So that object is counter, we can pass here. Then if we'll call the start method, the start method will call the run method. You see, it is calling and it is printing. So how this thread class calling this runnable run method, you see this, if we'll go to this thread class implementing runnable interface, you see, implementing runnable interface. And you see, runnable interface is a functional interface. Only one method, run method is there. Okay. So I told you two ways. What is the better way? So runnable is the better way, because if you implement this runnable to create a thread, at the same times you can extend some other class. Let's say our counter class, we are having a ABC class and that wanted to extend parallelly at the time of implementing, that is possible. Because Java does not support multiple instances. If you use this thread class, right, instead of runnable, so at the same time you cannot extend any other classes. So runnable is the better way. And also if you extend this thread, right, if you go to this thread class, we are having lot of methods, right? So all the methods unnecessary we are initiating. So better way is runnable. Okay. So these two ways to create the thread. First way is extending thread and second way is by implementing the runnable interface. Now I will show you how this code we can write by using a lambda expressions. Before that, what I will tell you, see, this runnable is a interface implementing by this counter, right? So we can say like super type reference, we can say, right, runnable counter. That is no issues. We can write that, right? And why we are writing this why this runnable interface we are implementing, and then we are implementing this run methods, right? Our motto to implement this run method, that's what we are implementing this run method, runnable interface, right? So instead of implementing and creating the implementer object, why not we'll create an object of the runnable interface directly. So runnable counter equal to, I will say, new runnable. I will say instead of counter, I will say new runnable. But you cannot create a interface object, you know that, right? For that we need to initialize here. So if we initialize that functional interface, that run method, whatever we are implementing here, if we are implementing here, right? So then nothing issues. Wait. So what I will do, one curly bracket here is missing. I will give that. Then what I will do, this run method, I will take this run method and I will put here. Oh, here R should be capital. You see, now this is okay. What I did, instead of creating a new class, I will remove this class. Okay, I will remove this class. Instead of creating this class, here itself I given the implementation of this and I created. This is called inner class. This is a class actually. Okay, so this is possible. So we don't need this class. Okay, I will remove it and we can run the program. This is giving same output. So instead of writing this inner class, what I will do, I will convert this inner class to lambda expressions. You see why we are creating this object, because we wanted to override this run method. And if you go this runnable, if you go to this runnable interface, you see that only one method is there, run, and that runnable interface, and we are implementing this run. So no need to mention, it is one method is there. So new runnable and this implementing run, all these things I will remove. Now no need to mention it. Okay, you see one curly bracket I am removing. So I am removing this, and this curly bracket also I will remove. You see, now I will add one special symbol called right arrow. This is called lambda expression, lambda symbol. Okay, so now you see this program is so simple, it is running still, no problem. So this is called lambda expression. And why we are this expressions, right? Why we are passing these expressions, okay, here, because this counter and this counter, these expressions we are initializing to counter, and counter we are passing. So instead of initializing, I will cut here and directly I will paste here. Okay. So I don't need this line. So here also it will work. You see how simple. So whenever it is required to create, you write thread t1 equal to new thread, then you write the implementation of this run. This is the implementation of the run method. Then it will run. So it is simple. So I told you, right? I explained, actually we are having two ways to create the thread, that is by extending thread class or implementing runnable interface. I told, and implementing runnable interface is the better way. And also I showed you how to develop the same code by using lambda expressions, Java8 Lambda Expressions, right? That's all about this session. If you really got something in this session, please put a comment and like the video. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe my channel. Okay, it will be really motivate me to create a new videos for you. And if you have any doubts on this, please put a comment, I will respond it. And if you have any better ways or better suggestion, please comment also. Okay, thank you so much for watching these videos.